Hello, and welcome back to This Week in Magic Online Finance. I'm your host, Chaz Andres, and as always, we're going to get started this week with our top story, which is that the Shocklands are back. They will, for a fact, be in Guilds of Ravnica. We're getting 5 of them, and, well, this is bigger news in paper Magic than it is on MTGO, because the Shocklands are still kind of pricey in paper. On Magic Online, 4 of the 5 Shocklands that'll be appearing in Guilds of Ravnica are easily available in the 2 to 3 ticket range, with only Steam Vents being the outlier, and even that one is easily available for about 8 tickets at the moment. And this, of course, begs the question of what's going to happen to the Shocklands next. Are they going to skyrocket in price because there's something legal and standard again? Are they going to tank because they've just been reprinted again? Well, we actually do have data from the last time they were legal and standard, and yes, I know that was 5 years ago, but it's still useful information. What we know is that the Shocklands were worth really consistently between about 3 and 4 tickets apiece for pretty much their entire duration in standard. And I don't expect things to be that much different this time around. If anything, they might be a little bit cheaper because many established players still have their sets of Shocklands from, well, the last time they were printed. So, should you pick up your Shocklands now? Well, yeah, if you want. I mean, they're not going to be worth much more than they are right now, but they're probably also not going to be worth that much less. The only exception to this rule, of course, is Steam Vents, which you should be selling yesterday. Get them out of your collection. This card is going to be worth less than half of what it's worth now come mid-October. Let's move on to gaining ground, where today's biggest standard gainer feels a little bit cheaty to talk about because even though it's legal in standard, it's strictly speaking not much of a standard card right now. And that is Walking Ballista, which gained 4.5 tickets this week, going from 16.5 up to 21, despite the fact that it is about to rotate. So what's going on here is that Walking Ballista is a necessary staple in 3 of the hottest and best decks in Modern. You need it for Mono Green Tron, you need it for Vengevine, you need it for Hardened Scales Affinity, and the metagame is uniquely positioned for Walking Ballista to be really, really good right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if this card makes it to 25 tickets, even 30 tickets at some point this fall, if the metagame doesn't shift away from it. Even though this card is rotating, it is a top tier Modern staple. Now, if you want me to talk about a standard card that's actually going to be legal in a couple of weeks, let's talk a bit about Ajani, Adversary of Tyrants. The Planeswalker gained about 2 tickets this week as part of a nice, slow gaining trend that's been happening over the past month or so, and it could be poised for some much more major gains after rotation depending on what the new metagame looks like. Let's not forget that Ajani is a really good token strategy planeswalker, and Selesnya, one of the guilds in Guilds of Ravnica, is historically a token-based guild. Will that work out? I don't know, but this is definitely a card I'm keeping my eye on, and based on the price gain, a lot of other people are as well. Let's move on to our biggest gainer in Modern, where it was the already quite expensive card Horizon Canopy, gaining 9 full tickets this week from 47 all the way up to 58. Why did this happen? Well, it's actually pretty simple. The top 3 decks at Grand Prix Prague, Hardened Scales Affinity, Bant Spirits, and Humans all require Horizon Canopy to play. So this is a card that is going to be one of the most expensive cards in the format for the foreseeable future, regardless of its iconic Masters printing. I really do think that this one may bottom out at 70. It's going to keep going up, so make sure that you get your copies soon. Let's move on to our biggest loser, where in standard it wasn't that big a loser. It was Rekindling Phoenix. It dropped about 2 tickets from 40 down to 38, which is really a small drop in the grand scheme of things, but I am worried that this is the start of a much bigger trend. See, Rekindling Phoenix is a really good card. It's found a home in every iteration of standard since it's been printed. It's been expensive for a while, but there's no guarantee that this card will definitely find a home in post-guild standard. And the worry here is that it's very close to its price ceiling right now. 38 tickets is a lot for a standard mythic. So if you're holding these in your collection right now, you're holding a lot of risk. Sure, it might continue being 38, 40, even up to 50 tickets, but there's also a really good chance that this thing could drop off towards the 10 or 15 ticket mark. There's just no reason to keep this one around right now, so I'm selling mine, knowing that I may have to buy back in somewhere close to the 40 ticket mark, but I'm getting out sort of above the 35 ticket mark, so this is just a really good hedge on the card, taking an extreme nosedive. Now, over in Modern, our biggest loser of the week was good friend Tarmogoyf, dropping another 3 tickets from 18 all the way down to 15, and oh boy, I don't think Tarmogoyf has been this cheap since, I don't know, the Future Sight pre-release, when everyone thought it was a pile of garbage and a joke card, but yeah, Modern has kind of left Tarmogoyf in the dust, and honestly, there's a certain point where the reward starts outweighing the risk, right? I mean, let's not forget that Tarmogoyf was 55 tickets earlier this year. It's not like this card is complete ancient history, so I'm going to keep monitoring this drop. At a certain point when it hits bottom, when that price chart finally levels out, it makes sense to buy in just on spec, and that's what I'm going to do. Now, this week's sneak is Worship, a card that started to see more play as a sideboard option in powerful Modern decks like Bant Spirits and Collected Company, and the card was worth really just about a ticket back in January. The Urza's Saga version is up to about 7 tickets now, while the 7th, 8th, and 9th editions are sort of kicking around between 3 and 4 tickets. And despite the fact that this card has actually been reprinted a few times, it's still a really low supply card because it's only been printed in those older base sets and Urza's Saga, so actually I think this one is due for a jump. It could be bought out at any point, it's gaining slowly. Regardless, I think you should grab some copies soon. As always, let's end the week by taking a look at the MTGO Traders sales data over the past 7 days, which gives us a great idea of which cards are selling the best right now, regardless of price increases or decreases. Now, looking at overall sales by volume, people are being pretty conservative right now, probably until we see what the new standard set gives us. Those multi-format common and uncommons that tend to dominate this list are still dominating this list, and once you scroll down to the top-selling rares, it's mostly fetch lands, Khans of Tarkir fetch lands. So, while it's possible that Bloodstained Mire and Polluted Delta and Flooded Strand will see price increases over the next couple of weeks, these cards tend to be fairly stable, and I'm not expecting any major fluctuations. In terms of overall sales by price, well, it's a rise in Canopy's world, and we're all living in it. And I talked earlier today about why I like that card, why I think it's going to gain, because it's in all of the good decks in Modern, and the data here backs it up. Not only is this card seeing a lot of play, but people are willing to pay current retail for it. It's selling well, so expect that card to keep gaining in value. Now, in terms of standard, Teferi Hero of Dominaria is the only card near the top of this list, so that explains why that one continues to sort of truck along, gaining a little bit of value each week. People are pretty sure that Teferi is going to be an important part of the post-Guilds metagame. I don't disagree. It's also worth noting that Rekindling Phoenix is nowhere near the top of this list. It is not selling well at current retail. I think that one is going to continue to drop. Like I said earlier, get out of that one now. That's all I got for you this week. Please like the video if you enjoyed the content, subscribe to the channel, there's a ton of good stuff put out by MTGO Traders. My name is Chaz Andres, and I will see you next week for yet another episode of This Week in Magic Online Finance.
Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more awesome MTG content just like this, and make sure to tap the bell icon to be notified whenever a video is made live. If you want to keep watching content, here are 2 more videos for you. This video and many others are sponsored by MTGO Traders and Cape Fear Games. Buy and sell digital singles to build your online collection today with MTGO Traders, and get your paper singles, accessories, and much more from Cape Fear Games. Whatever your Magic needs, both places have you covered.